We're back again. This is the Coon Prairie Ramblers in company.
I'm afraid to say so, yes.
Yeah, circled up and ready to go.
Probably triangulated. Make up your face.
Oh, we're triangulated, yeah.
Triangulated.
Circle the wagon.
Triangulated.
Circle them wagon.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the bucket list and what is number one on your bucket list.
That's a good question.
Yeah. You want to know what mine is?
Everybody wants something, but we're going to hear it anyway.
Okay, man, I'm going to tell it. Back in the old days, back in Vietnam.
Oh, boy.
Well, after Vietnam, I was stationed at Blytheville, Arkansas base before getting out, and I took my private flying lessons in a little tiny plane.
I didn't know you was a pilot.
Well, I didn't complete it, so I didn't get licensed, but I went through, did a lot of hours, in the air.
Wow. And
my instructor was a B-52 pilot. But when our club was on base, Blytheville, Arkansas, and it was a B-52 base, and I used to work on the B-52s. I was loaded the big bomb, the pill.
You didn't do that in Arkansas, though, did you? I mean, it wasn't
we did that in
much cause for
Arkansas.
bombs in Blytheville.
They'd have alert pad with 5 B-52s sitting there, and every night they'd sneak out there and they'd switch the pill or the nuke to another plane and put a placebo in where it came from.
So nobody knew the live crew.
You didn't have much to do, did you?
Yeah, well, they knew it was one of those 5 planes there. Didn't know.
Let's bomb them all.
Yeah, but anyway, we'd in this little Cessna, we'd taxi out. I was going to do my hours up in the air, and we had to taxi past these B-52s, and I felt so insignificant. This little Cessna riding past us. All these B-52s lined up,
Yeah.
And on my bucket list is to get to flying. I never got to fly. I would go up inside and do functional checks. And I get to sit in the captain's seat and switch buttons and stuff, make sure that everything's working. But I never got to fly in one. And I always heard stories
a B-52.
of what it was like to be in one. They said it was real squeaky.
The flying fortress.
Those wings would flex.
Sure, they have to.
And depending on how much gas or fuel they had in them, I don't know if they had gas.
I would have I was in there.
You'd go out there, and one time, a wing would be way up in the air. You couldn't touch the tip wheel, the wheel on the end of the.
Right.
But on the other side, you go over there and you could touch that wing, so it'd be sitting there lopsided,
Yeah, I want to get in that and take off.
How it was loaded, and you could actually grab the end of that wing and push it up. You could lift that wheel off the ground.
Right, had a little give.
Yeah. And so anyway, that was number one. I don't want to skydive. I don't want to climb Mount Everest. I'd like to take a ride in a B-52.
That's a pretty good one. You got one left?
I guess mine would be aeronautical, too. Back before Desert Storm, my wife and I were in Arizona, and we went to Pima Air and Space, which is across the street from Davis-Monthan, the boneyard, has all the planes. And as we drove by, I'd see F-4 Phantoms, I'd see the Wild Weasel, I'd see everyone I knew, and they're all mothballed. Then there was F-16s, B-52s, and then even further back. But while we were at the museum, overhead there were overflights of A-10 Warthogs. And we didn't know what was coming. We didn't know where we were headed, but they already did in the military, and they were training them out in the desert. So they were out there doing gun runs, doing drops, doing close support on target. And it wasn't 6 months later, I came home one night, and we'd gone into Desert Storm.
No kidding.
And they were the platform that saved a lot of people. So I guess mine would be to fly in one of those. Because I have a friend that's a pilot. They were going to decommission him, but now the Air Force is bringing them back. They found out even in Afghanistan they're the best close support, and they can take a beating. They can shoot the heck out of it, and it'll still land. The platform is really durable.
That's pretty serious right there.
1 3-second burst will just level a city block.
Wow.
It's not even 50 cal, it's even bigger. But some of them are incendiary and some of them are tracers, and it's just awesome.
What's your bucket list then?
That would be to fly.
To
fly in one.
Those?
Yeah.
And to shoot it?
I don't think I'd shoot it. Now,
be up there flying
they had a B-17 there that was restored, and they brought. Now this is back, so we're talking 2000, 2001. So 18 years ago, a lot of the crew was still alive. So they brought them back to Pima.
That's cool now.
And they had it completely restored. It was the same line, same model of the one Tibbetts flew that dropped Big Boy. Wow. So it was completely restored, and those men were there. We got to go in before the ceremony, and then they ushered us out, and they brought them in. Later on, we got to meet some of them. And those guys had their bucket list that day. They were looking at the plane they flew. They were looking at the plane they came home together as a crew.
That had to be emotional.
And it was. And they had, wow. They had pictures of them in front of it, and they had the pinup girl painted on it.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them had pictures of the original, and they were standing next to it, and this was restored even better. So
they got to stand in front of it again and have their picture taken.
And show their sons, daughters, grandkids, this is what brought me home. So they were very much, almost like Memphis Belle.
I was going to ask you, is Memphis Belle, that was a B-17 or B-52?
B-17.
Mm-hmm. That was a good movie.
I don't know if you've heard I'll make this real quick, but the story is the lady it was named after. Her husband was a pilot, and they divorced. He was married 6 more times, but in their settlement, after he died, she had possession of the plane, so she restored it. And it was on display in Memphis until she died, and then it fell into disrepair.
Oh, my God.
It was graffitied. It was horrible.
Well, that
finally,
takes me off.
This air museum in Ohio got the rights to it, and they took it back, and it's been fully restored.
I was going to ask you where it was.
And I don't know what city, but last week they flew it, and if you go online and look, it's been fully restored.
You could probably Google it and find out where it's at.
So that's an amazing
thing.
Oh,
man. Yeah. So we got two bucket lists.
Totally cool.
What about you, Luke?
Mine ain't nothing magnanimous or exciting like that. I would just like to get like a little tiny motorhome, kind of like a mini Winnie or something or other, and just take. If my wife wanted to go, fine. If not, she could stay at the house, go on cruises and stuff, and just go out like my buddy Ronnie Jones and his wife Beverly doing right now. Yeah. They're driving all over the country, just discovering America, taking the back roads and visiting friends and relatives, and I'd be visiting people I've met on Facebook that I don't know.
Eating some bodacious hamburgers.
I'd be like when I'm traveling, guys on the Food Channel, trying different foods and stuff. But I take my guitar with me and try to find these coffee shops and stuff and see if I can set up and play there. Then go to another one and just take all the back roads.
Video and audio. What's something we can put on YouTube?
I wouldn't want to mess that up. But
you meet the best people that way.
Yeah, that's right.
And especially if you go off the beaten path.
And that's right. Take all back roads.
Road America 66.
That's where it's at. That is where it's at. I would like to do that. I think that'd be mine. You got another one?
Oh, me? Oh, no, I was just thinking.
We're coming around again.
Meeting the interesting people, and that made me think of Cherryville, North Carolina, because you don't call it Cherryville. And I remember I pulled into this town and I said, "Is this Cherryville?" And the lady sitting there said, "No, it's Kerrville."
Kerrville.
Kerrville.
Oh, you got it. We're in Rome. We're in Kerrville.
Are you from No Katy?
No, that's right.
Kissing sign, welcome to Cherryville. It should have said, and this is how you say it, Kerrville.
Kerrville. You gotta get your mouth.
Kerrville.
You gotta wrap your mouth around something like that. Kerrville.
Talking about people that you meet in offbeat places. Mary and I went with Elizabeth way out in the desert, and we're just above the Mexican border, and it's where it's known for geodes. It's Rockhound State Park. So you find these geodes, and you can take them home and cut them and polish them, and they're beautiful.
Wow.
Well, we talked to the ranger. They have a place where you can dig for diamonds. They found some big ones. I think a month before, a guy had found 2 carat. So we tried that, no luck. He says, but if you're looking for geodes, go check this house. We went to it. It was nondescript, and it was 2 Vietnam vets that have gone off the grid. They had complete solar. They had, when you went in the house, they had all this. They made their money doing the geodes. But behind the one wall was 10 big screen TVs, and the guy was a trader in the markets all over the world. And that's what they did. They funded their life with the geodes, then he invested it. And here in the middle of the desert with nothing, in a nondescript house with these 2 guys that were living their life.
That's just bizarre.
Yep.
But cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Off the grid.
Off the grid. Neat
That's
people.
the way to do it.
Fascinated me.
Yeah, like one of these survivalist guys.
I hear that the volcano in Hawaii, that a lot of the people that's affecting are a lot of people that are living off the grid.
Right. That's where they live there.
They are now. If they weren't before, they are now. They're all running for the jungle.
So the ones that are really off the grid, no problem for that.
Well, we got to get off the grid right now. Speaking of which, we'll be back with segment 4 in a short. See ya.